Want to know how you can make a beautiful tray of mixed radish microgreens just like this? Well, today I'm going to show you in this full walkthrough. So let's go over what we're going to need for our triple radish mixed tray. So first, our seed. Over here we have 3 different varieties, all from True Leaf Market, and they're all the organic variety. We have our China Rose, we have our Rambo radish, and our Hong Vit. I chose these 3 because they all keep up with each other, and whenever you're doing a mixed tray, you really want to make sure that you're using varieties that all grow at the same ratio, because otherwise what will happen is some of them will grow tall, other ones will stay short, those will get trapped underneath the canopy, and you'll just run into a lot of problems. So be sure to be very picky on what you're combining. Enough about that. Now let's go over what we're going to need. So over here we have our 3 tray setup, which is our bottom tray, which will later be used to house our bottom water. You want a no-hold tray for that. Next, you'll need a tray that has either slits or some form of mesh. That way, whenever you put the tray into your next tray, the water can then go up into it and water your crop. And then lastly, you'll need another no-hold tray, and that will be put right on top, so that way we can help with our germination. So now, let's go ahead and get our seed measured out. So over here I have my scale, which I'm going to turn on. That took a while to turn on today. Okay, so my scale is tiered, and I know that it's going to be 1 tablespoon of each of these. And what we're doing is we're doing 30 grams of seed total, but we're doing 10 grams of each variety. So before we get to the seeding, let's go ahead and get our grow medium put into our tray. So I'm going to set this one out of my way real quick. And the grow medium that I'm going to be using is coco coir. Coco coir just provides the best results for us, so we're going to continue to use that. So what you're going to need is to take your tray over to your grow medium and put your grow medium in this. And you're going to fill it basically all the way up, just not where it's overflowing over the tray. So let me do that real quick and I will get back with you. So now I have my cocoa in my tray, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to make this a little bit more even. And that way we don't have high spots or low spots or even places like this corner where there is no medium. So let me just get this all situated. This is where if you have really bad OCD, you can probably do this for a while, trying to get it perfect. And you just gotta learn to be like, okay, that's enough. All right, so that is perfect now. What we're going to do is we're gonna measure out our seed, and we're going to be using 30 grams of seed total, but we're gonna be using 10 grams of each variety. So let's go ahead and get that done real quick. Turn on my scale and make sure it's zeroed out. All right, perfect. So first I'm going to start with my Hong Vit variety, and this is where you can kind of have fun with this because you can choose how you want to put it on the tray. And I know for me, what I want is I want the purple to be right in the center between the Hong Vit and the China Rose, and that way it gives it a little bit more of a playful pop to the tray. So first I'm going to start with Hong Vit. We're going to seed that and then move on to the next ones. We'll be using 1 tablespoon, which is equivalent to about 10 grams of seed. And let me go ahead and get that out of there. And so it's a tiny bit over that, but that's fine. Close enough, right? I'm going to set this out of my way so that way I don't accidentally grab it again and get them all mixed up. So now what you want to do is seed your tray. I'm going to start on this side. And this will be, I believe, my Hong Vit side. Yeah, this could be my Hong Vit. And I'm going to go basically to where I think the line will be at. So let's say that's my line. We're almost done seeding 1/3 of the tray with our first variety. Still got a little bit more left in my cup over here. So I've taken my Hong Vit radish and I have distributed it over 1/3 of the tray. And that way this is going to be separate from our next one, which is going to be our Rambo radish. That way we get a nice clear line there of which crop is which. So now let's go ahead and measure out our 10 grams of Rambo radish seed. So with this one, it should be the same, about 1 tablespoon. perfect. It was almost right on the dot. And now let's seed the other part. So this time, since I got myself a little bit confused, I'm gonna draw like a very slight line in this. Not enough where it's like indented, but just so I know where my cutoff point is, because it's really easy to go over that. So let's go ahead and get these seeded. It's pretty neat that you can see the different type of seed. They're just ever so slightly a different color. It's pretty cool. And now that I know where my line is, I'm just gonna kind of make that flat again. So this would definitely be a fun tray to do if you have kids, because you get to get a really big pop of color. It's kind of my one way that I can get really creative with the microgreens. And it's also really good if you want to grow a tray of microgreens for yourself, but you want to do different varieties at the same time. And that way you can do it all at one little go instead of having to do multiple trays. So it's a lot easier. Just make sure you get the right seeds to go with each other. And now on to our last one, which is our China Rose. So once again, let's get our 10 grams of seed weighed out. Close enough. We're gonna do that exact same process, and we're gonna finish off seeding the tray. If you take a look here, you can see that we have this broken up into 3 groups, and you can tell that by the different colors of each seed variety. So that means that we are done seeding our tray, and we are on to the very last step. So what we're going to do now is take our mister, which is hooked up to our tap water, and we're going to just give this a light, good mist across all the medium. You want to make sure you're not doing so much water that it's puddling, but you do want it to have a decent amount. Now that we're done watering, I'm going to take that other tray that we had set aside, put it on top like this, and now we're going to grab our 15-pound paper, put it on top as well, then put it onto our shelf where it can germinate. And for the next couple days, I'm going to come out twice a day, once in the morning and once in the evening, and give it a nice good mist across the whole entire tray. And I will see you whenever it's time to remove that brick. Today is day 4 of our triple radish mix. So let's pull this off of this shelf and see what we have going on. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove my brick and just set it aside. And look at that growth. So this has been under the brick for 3 days now, and today we will actually be removing that because we have gotten perfect germination. So with that being said, let's take a peek at our medium. It looks like our medium's still pretty moist, so I'm not going to give it too much water today. Now let's take a peek at the roots. Look at those happy roots. Everything's looking really good. We still got a decent amount of moisture in the bottom. So what we're going to do today, because these have grown so vigorously and they look perfect all the way across, we're actually going to introduce these into the light, which means we're also going to bottom water them. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab probably, let's start with half a cup of water real quick, and we're going to do our ocean solution water mixture, and we are going to get these bottom watered. So I'll be right back. Okay, so now let's add our bottom water. Just half a cup. We'll just kind of move this around. See how everything germinated at the same rate? That's why we picked out these 3 varieties, because they all seem to grow at the same amount of time. And that's what you really want to do whenever you're picking multiple varieties to grow on one tray, because that means that these will all perk up at the same height and everything should look perfectly awesome. So it's great. Now let's put this on the shelf. So what I'm going to do over the next few days is I'm going to be watering this twice a day via bottom watering, once in the morning and once at nighttime. And throughout this process, I'm going to up the amount of water that I'm going to give it as it needs it. But for now, I will see you guys around harvest day. Today is day 9 of our triple radish grow. And as you can tell, our tray looks perfect. So all 3 varieties have grown to the exact same level. They're all super full, and the cotyledons on all these are huge. So one thing that might be a little bit hard for some people is trying to figure out which one's Hong Vit and which one's China Rose, because they are very similar. And whenever you're putting this on the shelf back and forth, sometimes you tend to flip it around. But how you can tell is right here, if you just look at those stems, I know that these are a lighter pink tone, so this is my China Rose. Then over here, they are slightly darker, not by much, but if you look closer down to this level, you can tell that that is the Hong Vit. Very, very similar crops, so it's very easy to get confused, but nonetheless, we know which one is which. So now, since today is harvest day, let's go over what we need. So first, my knife. This knife just does an incredible job and is now our favorite knife to use. And then we need a way to harvest your tray into this. So I have my bag over here, which we put inside of a bowl. This is a great suggestion from one of our followers. It just helps to keep the bag in place, and that way we're not having to wash the bowl. And I also got my scale, which I'm going to put this on the setting I want right now, which is grams. And now let's begin harvesting. So I am extremely happy with how this tray has turned out. Very, very full. I think this is going to be a really good harvest. Oop, drop some. Look at how beautiful these look. All that pretty pink tones in it. Absolutely gorgeous. You grab the feed that kind of dropped a little bit. Let's get those in there. I can already smell that beautiful radish smell. So whenever you're doing a triple tray or even a double tray, if you're a home grower, one of the things that you can do is you don't have to harvest the entire tray like I'm going to. You can actually harvest it in sections. If you say like what I have right here going, you can just leave it at that if that's what you want to do. But if you're going to do that, make sure that any time that you leave over after that you check your plant, give it a little taste test, make sure that it's not going bitter, because otherwise you're gonna have product that you can't use. So just be sure to use your product at a reasonable amount of time, but you don't have to harvest the whole entire tray. And also, I'm not harvesting extremely low, because if I harvest really low, I'm gonna end up getting a lot of that coco coir medium all over my product. And it's not really a bad thing, it's just you don't really wanna do that, because then you're gonna have to spend more time washing your product and doing stuff like this and getting all of that off. The inside of that bag is starting to look so pretty. So I'm just now getting to that Rambo radish. Now it's starting to mix with the China Rose and it looks gorgeous. Whew, look at all that colors mixed together. So pretty. So now we are over at the Hong Vit side. And it is looking beautiful. Got really good growth here. All the stem colors and even the leaves look gorgeous. Looks like we're getting a heavy harvest weight too, which is good. And brush off any of that coco coir that's stuck. That looks good. All right. So this is the last bit of the tray that we now have harvested. And looks like we got a harvest weight of 584 grams, which is also 1 pound and 4.6 ounces. So that was a really, really, really good harvest. I'm extremely happy about all that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take out a little bit of each little section, put it on this plate next to me. We'll do a taste test and look at the appearance a little bit more. So I'll see you in just a second. So now I have all three laid out in front of me. And if you come closer, we can take a look at each of them. So I have them in order of how I had them on the tray. Over here being my China Rose, this one being my Rambo, and this one being my Hong Vit. Now that they're on the plate, you can kind of see a little bit better the difference between these two, because these stems are just slightly redder than these pink stems over here. So it's really like one of the big differences there, but the other difference is the flavor. So between all of these, this one is going to be your most mild. The Rambo radish doesn't have a whole lot of spice, it's just a little hint of it. But over on our China Rose, it's more of an in-between between these two, because Hong Vit is actually pretty dang spicy. So what we'll do to make this a little bit shorter is I'm just going to combine all three of these and we'll do a taste test like that. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. They're a little tangled up on each other, so I guess we're taking a little bit more than what I thought. So I got those, these, and our Hong Vit. So just so you can kind of see those colors mixed together. All right, now let's give it a taste test. I already know it's gonna be a little bit spicy. Oh, it was a big bite. Woo! Whoa, there's that spicy. That spicy, whenever it gets you, it just like, pow, it's right there in your mouth. So definitely a kicker, but I love spiciness, so that's perfect. I'm gonna finish chewing this real quick. This is a perfect time to have a dance party. I suck at dancing, so let's just kind of do what we're gonna do. Oh, no level spicy. The flavor on all those was perfect. I loved it. I love spicy stuff, so I think this is a great crop if you love that little bit of kick to your stuff. That's gonna be great in the salad and everything. I actually think I need a little bit of water. Spiciness from that actually made my tongue feel a little bit funny on one side, which I personally, I love that. We eat a lot of very spicy food. So to me, that is just a great indication of having all the flavors that I want in this crop. So that is it for this grow. I think it turned out perfectly. We got the perfect height, our weight was great, and the overall product was awesome. Extremely happy with this one, and I'm really excited too, because I hope that this will help you guys whenever you want to grow multiple things all at once. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you dislike it, give it a thumbs down. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the section below. We also have an Instagram and a Facebook if you'd like to follow those. Those are both at On The Grow Farms, and we now have a website, which is www.onthegrow.net, and keep on believing.